The woman sat in my Budapest cafe, staring at her espresso like it had personally betrayed her. She'd been in Hungary for 3 hours. I specifically asked for English breakfast tea, she announced to nobody in particular, holding up the cup. I said English. Why is nobody here speaking English if you're serving English tea? I watched her pull out a crumpled printout of the EU flag. See? You're all in this together. One big England situation. I want to speak to someone British about this Hungarian service problem. An American couple arrived at my Krakow pierogi restaurant last month, confidently speaking only English at full volume. After ordering, the man leaned back with satisfaction. Finally, some real Chinese dumplings. None of that fusion nonsense they do in London. His wife nodded enthusiastically. I told my book club Poland was basically the Chinese food capital of Europe. They didn't believe me, but here we are. When I gently suggested these were Polish pierogi, not Chinese gyoza, he pulled up a map on his phone. Look, Poland, China, they're both right here on the eastern side. It's the same food region. Geography 101. He then demanded I bring out the real menu with the General Tso's pierogi, because every Chinese place has it. His wife started a TikTok live stream titled, "Found the Secret Chinese Food Spot in England's Eastern District." They left a 1-star review complaining about false advertising of authentic Asian cuisine in British territory. I found their crumpled tourist map in the trash later. They'd circled Poland and written, "England's Chinatown" in marker. The guy handed me his US passport with the confidence of someone who'd never been denied anything. "Just visiting England's digital district for the weekend," he announced cheerfully. "I'm an Estonian customs officer. We are not England." "Sir, you're entering Estonia." He laughed like I'd told a hilarious joke. Right, Estonia. E for England. I get it, you guys do the British thing with the fancy names. He pulled out a printed article about Estonia's e-residency program. See? E-government, Estonia, it's all connected to England's tech sector. I did my research. When I explained Estonia was an independent Baltic country, he became suspicious. Baltic? Like the Baltic Sea near London? He started filming me on his phone. This is either a really committed prank or you guys are trying to scam me out of my NATO travel privileges. I'm calling the British Embassy about this fake country scheme. He demanded to see the real Estonian flag without the British colors hidden in it. Spent 20 minutes trying to prove our blue-black-white flag was definitely based on the Union Jack if you squint. Eventually let him through just to end the conversation. He posted on Facebook about England's weird immigration roleplay experience. "Welcome to my world, where Americans have decided that Europe is basically just England with regional accents and occasional confusion about which part of Greater Britain they're standing in. I run a small boat tour company in Grangerfjord. Last summer, an American family arrived for the sunset cruise, and the father immediately started complaining about the price. This is ridiculous. We're in England, and you're charging Scandinavian prices? That's false advertising." When I explained he was literally in Norway, he shook his head slowly, like I was the confused one. "Norway, England, it's all the same Queen's territory, buddy. I'm not paying extra just because you call it something fancy." He pulled out his phone and showed me a photo of Windsor Castle he'd visited 2 days earlier. "See? Same architecture, same rainy weather, same tea culture. You can't fool me." His wife chimed in. "We specifically booked England's Northern Highlands region for the dramatic scenery. Don't try to upsell us with this different country nonsense." Their teenage daughter was crying because she'd promised her followers she'd take photos in front of Big Ben's summer fjord location. The man refused to board until I admitted Norway was just marketing branding for Upper England. He demanded I provide the exchange rate between English pounds and Norwegian pounds because they're obviously the same thing. When I explained Norwegian krone wasn't pounds, he accused me of trying to confuse American tourists with fake currency schemes. Eventually paid in euros, insisted on a receipt that said England Fjord Tour, and left a review warning others about Norwegians pretending their region isn't part of Britain. His wife asked if she needed a separate passport for different England zones. I'm a bank teller in Zurich, and this American gentleman came in demanding to open an account. Standard procedure, except he kept interrupting my explanations with increasing frustration. Why is this so complicated? It's just an English bank account. When I clarified this was a Swiss bank in Switzerland, he literally laughed in my face. Switzerland, England, same thing. You're all part of that European England coalition. Stop making it complicated. He'd brought documentation proving that Swiss banks were just English banks with mountain marketing. His evidence was a screenshot of a James Bond movie where Bond visits a Swiss bank. See? British spy, English bank. Case closed. He demanded to know why I was pretending to speak German when England's official language is English. When I explained Swiss German was actually distinct from both German and English, he pulled out a crumpled tourist brochure. This is in English, proof that Switzerland is an English territory. The brochure was multilingual. He'd only looked at the English section. He threatened to report this bank to the Queen for unauthorized foreign language use. Insisted Switzerland was just the part of England where they hide the royal family's money. Asked if his American debit card would work in all English regions including this mountain one. When I explained Swiss banking regulations, international account requirements, and our actual independence, he recorded a voice memo to himself. Swiss people are very committed to the England expansion roleplay. Impressive dedication. Left promising to contact the British Embassy in England's Swiss district about this paperwork scheme. My family runs a small yogurt shop in Sofia that's been here for generations. This American woman walked in, tasted our yogurt, and immediately her face transformed with recognition. Oh my God, this is just like the Greek yogurt from Trader Joe's. Are you guys a franchise of that English yogurt company? I explained Bulgarian yogurt predates Greek yogurt commercially and definitely isn't English. She pulled out her phone with absolute confidence. No, I googled it. Europe equals England, and all the good food in Europe comes from England's creative regions. This is obviously England's Bulgarian-style Greek yogurt. She started taking photos for her blog about English food innovation in Eastern districts. When I mentioned Bulgaria's 4,000-year yogurt tradition, she nodded enthusiastically. Right, so England has been doing yogurt for 4,000 years in this region. That's so cool. Her husband asked if we had the English version without all the ethnic flavoring. She demanded to speak to whoever manages England's Bulgarian franchise operations because she wanted to invest in bringing real English yogurt back to America. Insisted our traditional clay pots were vintage English pottery. Asked why we didn't have any Union Jack decorations to show regional pride. When I explained Bulgaria was an independent Balkan country with its own language, history, and culture, she looked genuinely concerned for my education. Sweetie, I think your school failed you. Everyone knows the EU is basically the United Kingdom of Europe. She left a review praising England's commitment to regional authenticity in their Bulgarian yogurt district and complaining that staff need better training on British geography. Her husband asked for directions to the next English food region, preferably the pasta one. I work at a tourist information center in Porto, and this American couple came in with printouts, highlighters, and serious determination. We need directions to the England-Spain border, the man announced. We're doing a cross-England road trip and Spain is next on the list. I gently explained he was in Portugal, which shares a border with Spain, but neither country is England. The woman looked at me with pity. Honey, we're not tourists. We did the research. England colonized everything over here, so it's all basically Greater England now. We read about it on a blog. She showed me an article about the British Empire that didn't mention Portugal once. See? England owned all of Europe at some point. You're just in denial about your own history. Her husband pulled out a hand-drawn map where he'd labeled every Western European country England plus adjective. France was England fancy, Spain was England spicy, and he'd written England port wine over Portugal. When I explained Portuguese independence dated to 1143, centuries before England was even properly unified, he shook his head. That's propaganda, probably from the EU to justify their fake separate countries thing. I bet if we go to your government buildings, they've got British flags hidden somewhere. He demanded proof that Portugal isn't just coastal England. The woman asked why my accent didn't sound more British if you're in an English region. They refused directions unless I admitted Portugal was, at least historically, part of England's wine district. Finally left to find someone who understands real European geography, which apparently meant finding another American tourist to confirm their theory. Later saw them at a restaurant explaining to the waiter that bacalhau is obviously England's take on fish and chips, just fancier. I manage a mountain lodge in the Julian Alps, and last winter this American family arrived for a ski week. First morning at breakfast, the father called me over with a concerned expression. We need to talk about the false advertising. Your website said Slovenia, but we're clearly in the English Alps. That's fraud. When I assured him he was indeed in Slovenia, he pulled out a folder, an actual physical folder, of evidence. First page, a photo of the Alps in Switzerland with a caption he'd written, England's mountain system. Second page, a screenshot of a Toblerone wrapper. Swiss chocolate, British company, proves the Alps are English. Third page, a map where he'd drawn arrows from London to every alpine country with the label England Ski Expansion Program. His wife nodded along. We're not mad, we just want accuracy. Call it the English Alps of Slovenia, and we're fine. Their kids were complaining they'd told their friends they were skiing in England, and now you're saying it's some random country nobody's heard of. The man insisted Slovenia was definitely invented recently for tourism marketing, because there's no way England would let another country have mountains this nice. He demanded to see historical documents proving Slovenia existed before 1995. When I showed him Slovenian history going back to the Slavic settlement in the 6th century, he studied it carefully and announced, "This is just England's regional history written in translation. See, same continent, same history." He asked if the ski lift tickets worked in all English alpine regions, and seemed offended when I said no. Left a review warning that Slovenian resorts refuse to acknowledge their British heritage, and staff are trained to deny England's obvious ownership of the Alps. His daughter posted an Instagram story. Apparently we're not in England, but the mountains look exactly like stock photos of English Alps, so ick. I give tours at Bran Castle, commonly marketed as Dracula's Castle for tourists. This American couple joined the tour, and within 5 minutes, the man was arguing with me in front of the whole group. This is Transylvania, right? And Transylvania is in England. So why are you speaking Romanian? I explained Transylvania is a region in Romania, definitely not in England. He pulled out a worn paperback copy of Dracula. Bram Stoker was English. He wrote about an English castle. This is England's Gothic region. It's basic literature facts. His wife supported him. We paid for an English castle experience. We didn't fly all this way for some random Eastern European building. She demanded to know why there weren't more traditional English Gothic features like gargoyles and afternoon tea service. The man insisted the entire Dracula story was set in England's mysterious Eastern territories, obviously. When I mentioned Bram Stoker never actually visited Romania and based his novel on research, he nodded triumphantly. Exactly. He didn't need to visit because he already lived in England, where this castle is. You just proved my point. He started pointing at architectural features, claiming each one was clearly English Victorian style, despite the castle predating Victorian England by centuries. His wife asked why the gift shop didn't sell proper English memorabilia, and complained the postcards don't even show Big Ben in the background for perspective. The man demanded to speak to whoever's in charge of England's Transylvania district to complain about historical inaccuracy in regional tourism materials. He tried to start a chant in the tour group, "Show us the real British flag." Nobody joined. They left claiming I was part of a conspiracy to separate Transylvania from its English roots, and posted a TikTok accusing Romania of cultural appropriation of British Gothic heritage. Found a comment card later where he'd written, "Great castle, wrong country. Needs more England acknowledgement. 3 5 stars." Here's what I've learned from years of these interactions. There's a specific type of American tourist who has somehow condensed all European geography into England plus theme parks. France? England's food court. Italy? England's art gallery. Germany? England's beer garden. The confidence is unshakable, the logic is circular, and no amount of actual factual information will penetrate the force field of their conviction. The wildest part isn't the initial confusion. That's almost understandable given how American history education sometimes treats European geography like a minor detail. It's the doubling down, the elaborate theories, the evidence folders, the insistence that locals are either confused about their own countries or engaged in some massive tourism conspiracy. I've seen Americans argue with customs officers, bank managers, tour guides, and random shopkeepers, all absolutely certain that Europe is essentially England with regional branding. And somewhere in London, actual British people are probably just as confused about being assigned ownership of an entire continent they definitely don't control, haven't controlled in quite some time, and honestly probably don't want to deal with the paperwork for. The European Union is complicated enough without Americans deciding it's actually the United Kingdom of everywhere with really creative district names. But tomorrow, another American will arrive in Prague, confident they're in England's beer region, and the whole cycle continues. Geography is dead. Long live England's 27-plus franchise locations.